Hello, welcome back to Miranda's Vlogs. I feel like I need like a title or something, I don't know, like some opener, I don't know. This is not supposed to be like a big thing, it's not supposed to add extra stress to my life because I'm a full-time student, I work a lot and all that good stuff, and this is really just like a project for me it's supposed to be therapeutic, it's supposed to like help me reflect on things, talk about stuff, and like look back on just in the future when I'm older, and just anyway, that's the point of this. Like, it isn't supposed to be like entertaining, I guess. I mean, if people are watching on YouTube, like, it's there just for backup so my like computer doesn't get too full, but it's on YouTube just for that. But if people are watching it, like, cool. Obviously, I'm not like trying to be like super entertaining and whatever, but part of me does. I did film in high school and a little bit in middle school too, so I definitely miss it, and I definitely have like an eye for. I like to edit. I like to like put things together in like a pleasing way instead of just sitting here and talking, which is still going to be like the primary part of it, but part of me is still like, oh, like, what if I did this? What if I tried that? Blah, blah, blah. So, who knows? Maybe we'll have an opener or a title, like something with Miranda. Like, I don't know. We're working. I'm figuring it out. I'm working on it. Maybe. Or add some background music or something. We'll see. Some fun editing sequences. I don't know. World of possibilities. We'll figure it out. But anyway, so welcome back. This is day... Is this day 5? I feel like I want to say this is day 5. Let me check. Yes, we're on day 5. It is November 1st, 2018. Halloween was good yesterday. I did have that late class until, I don't know, till 7. So I was late to getting home, passing out candy, but we only had 12 trick-or-treaters come in total, and I don't know if that's just like a Fort Collins thing, if it's across all of Colorado, if it's across the country, like, I don't know, like, or maybe it's just my neighborhood, I don't know, but like, it's just kind of a bummer to see my favorite holiday, like, it feels like it's dying. I don't know, hopefully it's not, hopefully it's just like my neighborhood, but there were not many trick-or-treaters. I mean, I guess that means more candy for me, so that's kind of nice, but anyway, but it was fun, dressed up, a lot of people liked my Hermione costume, and I watched the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre in between one of my classes, just on my phone, so that was kind of entertaining, and watched The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and anyway, good times, gotta say that today has been a frustrating day, and not for like any particular reason. I'm just like, I think I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and I am in a bad mood. Just one of those days where like I didn't like any of my clothes. I couldn't figure out my hair. Like, I have naturally curly hair, and it's just so ugly. Some people look beautiful with naturally curly hair. I do not. I'm not one of those people. I feel like very confident in the rest of my body. I wouldn't change anything about it, but if there was one thing I would change about my body, it would be to have wavy hair or straight hair, because just so much easier to work with and deal with, and I feel like you can just roll out of bed and it still looks somewhat decent, or even like just like putting it together would be an easier thing and healthier, because I burn my hair so much with a straightener or a blow dryer or whatever. So that was frustrating, and I know everyone has these days, but I'd say like once or twice a month I have one of those days where I'm just like, hate all of my clothes in my closet, hate my hair, running out of time, and then it just puts you in a kind of a weird mood for the rest of the day. Like, if I don't look good and feel confident about myself, then I think I'm thrown off for the rest of the day, and that's how today was. Not that I think looks are everything, and like I said, I'm very confident in my body and what I look like, and just who I am. I say I'm very confident, and I don't think that's a cocky thing. I think it's cool to like be confident in who you are. But just today was not one of those days, I guess. And then it was like, oh, frustrating, like I need to, get on my study abroad stuff for next summer, but I don't know how long I want to go and where I want to go or what kind of program I want to do, and like I don't even know the questions that I want to ask for advisors. But like a lot of these applications their deadlines are gonna be in December, so that's next month. So I really need to get on that sort of thing, but I don't even know like how to pay for it all. Like some of the programs I'm looking at are $4,000, and I have tuition, I have plane tickets to Indiana, and I have gas money. I just don't even know like how to go about it all, and I like want to do this because I think this is like a really important once in a lifetime opportunity, but at the same time, like I don't want to fly by myself somewhere far away that I don't know anybody and I might not speak the language, and that's like such a wimpy thing. Like I really love to travel, and I've been out of the country, I don't know, 3 or 4 times now, and I love it, and I would seriously regret not doing this. So like I have to do it. It's just like I don't know, I don't want to be gone for very long. I don't know where I want to go, and I feel like so overwhelmed by the whole situation. I feel like I'm shutting down with it, which isn't good. And it's like next summer, I really want to start looking at like places to live and internships and just things for like post graduation. And I also want to be able to like spend some time in Indiana and spend some time with my family. And I just don't want to be like, a lot of these programs are gonna be 8 weeks, and I don't know how like to be gone for 2 months and not be able to like do everything else that I want to do. So there's a lot on my mind with that, and I don't really know where like I want to go with that. And then my mom's like harping on me about it, like, we gotta do this, you gotta get on it. If you don't want to do it, that's fine, but like, you have to do it. I'm like, I know, you don't need to remind me. So there was that, and just a general unhappy feeling, and just like very tired. I feel like I woke up in like REM sleep, REM sleep, whatever you want to call it. Like I just, and my uterus has been on fire today. I feel like I had been doing a lot better with my physical therapy, and just like, because my IUD wasn't working, my surgery wasn't working, like all that good stuff, but like I feel like the physical therapy had started to relax my pelvic floor muscles, kind of giving me some relief for the endometriosis. And today, I think stress and tiredness does like overwork it a little bit. Like I don't think it's entirely that, because it is like a chronic disease, but like I think it like does work it up when I'm like extra like agitated, which I was today clearly. So I had that to deal with. Like even right now, I've got my heating pad on. I'm probably gonna put this essential oil on it. It's called End of Endo. I got it from Etsy. Some woman just like, the owner was like, well, like let's talk about it. Like let's figure out some good oils so we can make a blend and see if it works. And it actually does wonders, and it smells amazing. It has I don't even know how to pronounce this. Helichrysum infused jojoba oil. Frankincense, lavender, rosemary, clary sage, geranium, and eucalyptus. And I know clary sage is like one of the best ones for endometriosis, like straight up, even if it wasn't blended with something else. So this is great. Like what I do, I always have to smell it because it just smells so good. Like I'll take my heating pad off, and what I do is I normally experience pain from like my belly button down to about here. And so sometimes I will just like rub it on. It's a rubbing on one. Like it's not like I have to drop it into my hand. I'll just kind of lightly put it here in like these circular motions up to my belly button, and then I can just kind of rub it in. And then I'll just put my heating pad back on. And I think the combination of this oil with the heating pad really helps a lot, honestly. I actually might leave my pants unbuttoned, to be honest. Just to add a little bit more of relief. So that's helpful, and I've been trying some yoga poses. I think I've really just tried to move into more like holistic approaches. Heating pad, yoga, physical therapy, the oils. My gynecologist started to talk to me about like, what's it called? That, it's not weed, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's the, CBD oil. Yes, CBD oil infused lotion. and I've looked into it, and I've heard the good things about it. It really does help relax those muscles, but it's expensive. Like, I found some nice lotion with CBD oil in it, like, you know, but it's like this big, and it was like $30. I'm like, I just, maybe I'll ask for that for Christmas, but I just felt like I couldn't, I don't know, I just felt like I couldn't do it right now. But, it's a lot of money to spend on that. But, you know what, like, my health is also important, so if it is, you know, if it might be worth it, we'll see. For those of you who don't know, who do happen to be tuning into this, I have endometriosis, and I wasn't necessarily planning on talking about this, but this is just kind of where the conversation has gone, so maybe I will, like, tell, like, a little bit of my story, with that. Endometriosis is the, growth of, like, tissue, that is supposed to be inside the uterus, but it's found on the outside of the uterus, or sometimes it can be found even, like, on the ovaries, on the fallopian tubes, on the colon. Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be the uterus, but that's just where mine was. And there's really, like, no way for them to tell unless you have surgery. But that's what endometriosis is. It sometimes goes hand in hand with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and also goes hand in hand with, like, pelvic floor dysfunction, or there's, like, several other, like, pelvic inflammatory issues that are sometimes, you know, like, hand in hand with endometriosis. Call it endo for short, so if I say endo, that's like why. Because endometriosis is a long word. It took me a long time to figure out how to say it, how to spell it. I'm an expert at it now because, like, I talk about it a lot. It's a really big part of my life. So, mini story here. Well, it's not going to be mini. It's probably what I'm going to talk about the rest of this vlog, which I'm going to try to keep it short, you know? But it's a long story. I'll try to omit certain details, just, like, kind of keep it going. But when I was 11 years old, I got my period. It was, like, the most exciting thing because my friend had already gotten her period, and I was, like, really jealous. She had it for, like, a few months before I had mine. And I finally got it, and it was actually it's a really cute story. I wrote a whole page about it, actually, like, just telling the story. Maybe I'll tell it later. But anyway, I got my period when I was 11, and I really felt no pain, and, like, I remember, you know, my mom asking me, like, are you feeling cramps? Like, do you need to take, you know, an Advil for it? And I was just like, no, I feel fine. Like, I've never felt a cramp. I don't, you know, and I think, like, once it started to get a little regular, so, like, a few months into having my period, I started to feel pains that I've never felt before. I don't know, after about a year of feeling this, like, at first I was like, oh, I'm sick, or maybe I have constipation or something like that, but, like, after a year of it, I was like, I don't know what's going on with me. So I first went to the doctor to talk about these pains when I was 12. So, you know, about, not quite a year later, but, you know. And the doctor was like, you're probably constipated, like, let's put you on, like, laxatives, just to kind of get you going with, which I think was part of it. This might be getting so TMI, so if you guys want to, like, not watch this, that's okay. I've definitely always had some issues with, like, not issues going to the bathroom, like, I've never felt constipated, but, like, I've always noticed that, like, pooping was never regular for me, and now that I've, like, done a lot of research on endometriosis, it's a big part of endometriosis is a side effect. So the doctor wasn't entirely wrong. I did have some issues there, but that was not, like, the root of the cause. This was, like, a side effect of something else. So yeah, anyway, I went on these laxatives, whatever, maybe they helped a little bit, but not really. Like, that pain was still very persistent. So went back to the doctor. They're like, you're anxious, which I do know now. I do have anxiety, and yes, like, was probably anxious, but I was pretty in tune to my body and was like, you know what, I think, like, my anxious self is more nauseous. Like, I felt more nauseated when I was anxious, not, like, stabbing pains. That's what it felt like. I felt like I was, like, there was someone inside of me trying to get out with a knife. Like, that's what it felt like, just, like, a knife being, like, stabbed into my abdomen. I was like, I don't know if I'm, like, that's anxiety. I think my wow, I'm having a hard time. Nauseousness is anxiety related. But kept on trying to figure something out, whatever. And so finally I kind of took things into my own hand. And I was like, I don't know, 14 or 15 when I was doing this, and I started to chart it. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling these pains pretty consistently when I'm ovulating, a couple days before my period, during my period, and a couple days after. And after charting that for a long time, I brought this attention to my doctor. I was like, I think it's part of my period. And I feel like I was shut down again, which I know is no surprise. Like, anybody who has endometriosis or knows someone with endometriosis knows that, like, it takes such a long time for somebody to, like, take you seriously, it seems like. On average, a woman who thinks she has endo, it will be, and I shouldn't say women, because there are female identifying people or you know, other people who do have endometriosis. So, sorry, that was just a habit. But there are people who, on average, take about 10 years to be taken seriously with these sorts of pains. So it took me 7 years, 8 years maybe, something along those lines, to finally be taken seriously. And I feel like that's lucky because it wasn't 10 years, but even that's too long. Even, you know, 7 or 8 years, that's just ridiculous. So I was still kind of turned down, and finally when I was around 16, I went on birth control. And the doctors were like, okay, we're going to put you on an oral contraceptive, and hopefully that'll just kind of like make your body feel more regular. In terms of my period, not pooping. I just kind of got what I said. And I don't know, I was on them for a year, and I didn't really feel like they did much, and they're like, well, why don't you go off them now and see what happens? So I went off it, and that was horrible. Like, the pain came back just tenfold, like, just, like, excruciating. I mean, we're talking, like, the stabbing pain, the nausea, dizziness. I mean, pain where I'm like, I can't stand up right now. It was just horrible. And to feel, like, nauseous on top of that, and to feel dizzy, and just, like, and irregular bleeding, and just, I can't, you know, and it was heavy bleeding too. Like, I went through, like, a super mega tampon, whatever, in 5 minutes. Just soaked it right to the underwear. I could never own pretty underwear at all because it would just, like, destroy it. It was horrible. So I went back to my doctor. It was just, like, when I was 18 at this point. So I've been dealing with this for a while. I was 18. I went back to my doctor over a Thanksgiving break after college. You know, I went home and I was like, listen, this is my period. Like, trust me. And the only reason she sort of started to listen was I had talked about blood clots. And that's, like, obviously really bad. I was like, I have blood clots. Like, I'm serious. And so she's like, well, let's make sure you're not anemic. And so she tested me for anemia. That came back negative because I was like, another thing. She's like, well, you probably have dysmenorrhea, which means painful periods. I'm like, well, duh. I could have, like, self-diagnosed that. But, she's like, I think you need to go see, like, a professional, like, not just coming to, like, your regular physician, but, like, go to a gynecologist. So I set up an appointment with an OBGYN, and, like, I was very thankful that it was going to be, like, right before my next cycle, because this cycle that I was having, like, we always do an annual hike on Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving morning I got up, and I fell into the floor. Like, I literally could not stand. I was afraid. My mom's like, I don't think you should go on this hike, and I was like, I just don't want to be punished. Like, I don't want my regular life to be, like, you know, disrupted by something so stupid. And so I was like, no, I'm going to do it. But I was just like, there were times when on that hike I needed to stop. And it's like, not because I was out of breath or out of shape or something. I was just like, I cannot handle this. Like, I'm in so much pain. So I was super, actually, very excited to meet with my OBGYN. And, it was the day before my appointment. I was babysitting, and I got my period. I knew it would. Like, it always comes every Wednesday, and I knew that because I'd gone back on my pill, actually. After that Thanksgiving time, I was like, I need to go back on my pill. I know it didn't help super much, but, like, I was just hoping that it would help, like, a little bit more than what I was going through right then. So anyway, I went back on the pill, and since I'm on the pill, like, I would always get a period on Wednesday morning or afternoon. It's pretty consistent. So that Wednesday, babysitting, got my period, right? Came back home after babysitting. I was feeling fine. Like, I was feeling those pains, but, like, once you've been feeling those pains for 6 or 7 years, like, it becomes very tolerable. Unfortunate, it's just become second nature to, like, handle that. And I was having a friend over that night to watch a movie, and we, like, about 20 minutes before she was supposed to come over, I was laying in bed with the heating pad, and I was, like, very tempted to text her and be like, don't come over, like, I don't feel good. But I was like, it's just my endo, like, she's not gonna get it, like, I'm not contagious, and I was like, I can suck it up, we're just watching a movie, like, I can be in my pajamas, I can have my heating pad, I can drink some Sprite or something like that, you know, and just relax, like, she's not gonna judge, she knows I have this is okay. And at this point, like, I didn't know I had endometriosis, but I had done enough research that I just assumed, and I knew that there was no way to know until, like, I had a laparoscopy, that surgery, I can never say it, but I was fairly certain, and so I let her come over anyway, and about, like, 20 minutes into When Harry Met Sally, I was just, like, making a beeline to the bathroom, and I was just throwing up the rest of the night. Every 20 minutes, I think I would puke. It was just so miserable, and on top of that was that stabbing feeling. It was just like my uterus was just contracting. I was having those contractions. It was just the worst night. And so after about 11 hours of that, not kidding, 11 hours, it was about 5:30 in the morning, my dad's like, I'm taking you to the ER. And I was like, I hate hospitals. They are my biggest fear. No, thank you. I would rather just not. But at that point, I was just too tired. I was like, okay. Yeah. So I went to the hospital, and in the ER, they gave me, like, morphine and some anti-nausea medicine through an IV, and just tried to get me some fluids. And they did a pregnancy test and some other tests and things like that just to make sure I was all good. And they talked about doing some scans of my body just to make sure I wasn't having, like, an appendicitis. But I didn't have a fever, so they're like, no, it's probably not that. And I told them, like, I'm going to go see this gynecologist in, like, a few hours, actually. Like, they're like, well, that's good. Maybe she'll give you an ultrasound, blah, blah, blah. So, kind of was left the ER after I kind of got better, and spent the day sleeping, and went to the gynecologist and talked about those sort of things. She's like, yeah, we definitely want to see you for an ultrasound, but I was on my period at that point, and they're like, well, we can't do it right now. So we scheduled for the next week an ultrasound. But the same situation happened Christmas night, like a few days later, so I ended up back in the ER anyway, with that same sort of pain, and I got one ultrasound down there, and she was like, the ultrasound technician was like, well, doesn't really seem like we see anything, I don't know. So I had 2 more done the next week. I had a transvaginal one, and I had the one that just goes, like, on top of your tummy. They're like, we'll take a really hard, good look at them, and we'll come back to you. And the thing is, endometriosis will not show up on an ultrasound. Like I said, it only really shows up through a laparoscopy. And so I got a call, and they're like, we don't see anything. And I was like, that's just so frustrating. Because obviously this isn't normal. And so they upped up my dosage for my oral contraceptive. They, like, added lots more. I think it was estrogen, not progesterone. It was a combined pill, but I don't remember which hormone that they upped the ante on. And that one made me feel, like, insane. I mean, like, it was February, and I was walking around in shorts. I just was so hot. I cried all the time. I was super hungry, and I had a month-long period. Like, I'm just bleeding for 30 days straight. And I was like, I made that choice. I'm like, I am going off this pill. I cannot handle it. It's making my pain worse. And I was so anxious in the dorms. I was just so afraid that sort of an episode was going to happen again when I was away from my family and just with roommates, I didn't want that. Thankfully it didn't. So I kind of explained all this to my doctor, and they're like, you know what, let's just go ahead with the surgery. Which made me super anxious, of course, because surgeries, like, in hospitals and medical emergencies and just blood and anything like that in general is just not my cup of tea. I don't know if it's anybody's real cup of tea, but, like, I have frequent panic attacks in hospitals, pass out, throw up, that sort of thing, and just don't really handle it well. But I was like, okay, let's do it. Like, go in there, see if I have endometriosis, and if they do see it, they will cauterize it. Like, they burn it off, and cut it off. off the uterus. So about a month later, I had that scheduled. I had a pre-op appointment, and then I had it over spring break, so I didn't have to like have it interfere with my classes and stuff. I was super nervous. I could just remember crying so much. I was like in the hospital gown. I was at a surgery center, and my parents were like saying goodbye to me, and they had like put the IV in the back of my hand, and they were like about to knock me out, you know, like give me that anesthesia. And I just remember like looking at my parents like, I feel better now. Which obviously no one was buying that. They're like, no, you need this. And I can't tell you how badly I was sobbing. So they gave me a little extra. I remember like the anesthesiologist was like, okay, I'm going to slip you a little something, put something in my IV. And I just remember like, I kept touching my face. And I remember them picking me off the wheelchair thing and putting me into the operating table, and I was out. And what they do with the surgery is actually pretty interesting. They fill your tummy up. They make 2 incisions, one through my belly, my tummy, belly button, my goodness, my belly button, and the one through my abdomen. You can't see my scar on my belly button. You can't see the one on my abdomen. Let's see if I can do this without, like, being inappropriate. You know, I probably could, but to be completely honest, it's so faded at this point, you probably couldn't see it, and it's this big. It is so tiny, which is kind of why I wanted to, like, show, but, anyway, they make those 2 incisions. One has, like, this tool for them to cut off the endometriosis, and the other has a camera attached to it so that they can see, and they have, because your intestines are, like, so, all your organs are just so close together, they fill your tummy up with carbon dioxide, I think. They fill it up with some gas, just so that they can, like, see inside there, and what they're doing. And then they tilt you upside down, so, like, all your intestines move this way. Obviously, I don't remember this because I was completely drugged. And then I had a breathing tube down my throat, right? So, surgery normally takes about an hour. Mine took 30 minutes because I was pretty tiny and I was really healthy, minus this, right? So it was done pretty quickly, and I had a pretty easy recovery, to be completely honest. They did find 2 spots of atypical endometriosis, which they removed. For recovery, like, they give you, narcotics, and I chose not to take them because with my wisdom teeth surgery, I didn't do well with the narcotics, and I ended up throwing up a lot, and I was like, I don't want to throw up. Like, that would hurt my stomach a lot, and it's already in pain. So for about a week, I was very slow. I couldn't wear pants. It was, like, such an exciting time when I could wear pants. I remember Snapchatting all my friends a picture of me wearing pants. I was like, I did it! I put pants on! Like, I was in sweatpants and overalls and skirts and dresses for a very long time because just any waistband would hurt, those incisions. So a lot of times I would just wear these big loose sweatpants and a sports bra because that was just, like, what felt the best. What hurt a lot was actually my back, because sometimes that, like, gas gets trapped in your body, and it's like it would rise up, so, like, right around here, my back and my neck just hurt so bad because that gas was trapped, and that just goes away naturally. I know my cousin had some of the gas lodged underneath her lung, and she had to go back to the hospital and have that taken care of. We had the same surgery in the same week, which is kind of crazy, but I was fortunate. Like, it hurt, but it went away. My throat hurt a ton, like, because of the breathing tube. So, like, actually, like, the problems that hurt the most were not, like, endometriosis related. It was, like, my throat and my back. Anytime I would sneeze, that would hurt a lot, I had a post-op appointment. They checked out the stitches and everything was good, and they removed my bandages, and yeah, so, I mean, the recovery went pretty well, and after about a month, I went back on the birth control pill. Because they're, like, a lot of times, like, the surgery is just a little boost, and then the pill kind of takes care of everything else. I went on that for 3 or 4 months, still just was not feeling better, and I was like, oh my god, this is ridiculous, and unfortunately, I'm not alone. Like, this just happens to most people. Not most, I don't want to say most, but, like, a lot. Ungodly amount. So, I had my surgery in March. In August, this is when I was 19, so this is, like, a year and a little bit ago. I got an IUD. I got the Mirena, the 5-year one. It's hormonal. You don't want to get copper with this sort of thing. because copper usually makes your periods heavier, and what Mirena does is stop your periods. So it's like, aha, like this is really gonna like stop it. And this is the one birth control I love the most, because I've gone on 3 or 4 different pills, and I love Mirena because you don't have to think about it. It's highly, highly effective. Like there's really no room for error. Like it's 99% effective as a birth control, you know, not like with endometriosis. You don't have to think about it, right? Like it's just there. It's easy to insert. Like it hurts a little bit, but like after all the pain that I've been through, like it actually just felt like normal. The gynecologist was really impressed with me. She's like, "Oh my god, like you just like handled that like a champ." I'm like, "Well, you know, this isn't my first rodeo, it feels like." And a lot of insurance will cover it for free, so I didn't have to pay a cent, which is great. In the last 5 years, so like it's awesome, and it stops your periods, so like you don't have to ever worry about having a period, which is what I love the most. Like I don't have to worry about getting tampons and pads and all that stuff and ruining underwear. Like I can actually buy like fun, nice underwear now, which is fun. Right now I'm wearing ghost underwear because yesterday was Halloween. Just a little FYI. So anyway, yeah, that's that part, and I mean, it was better. Like, I'm never gonna want to change my birth control. Like, I found the one that works for me, and it's perfect. And that's a whole battle in of itself that I'm not gonna talk about right now. Maybe another day. But like, you know, I'm not gonna change that. Like, I've had people like my gynecologist talking about maybe doing Nexplanon or this or that. But like, I found the one I like. So I started doing acupuncture to try that. I did that for a couple months, didn't really feel like that worked. Like I started to look into like diet changes. Like I've kind of realized that the medication, the surgery route just wasn't working. So I'm like, okay, like need to do maybe some holistic stuff. So like I found some good yoga positions that work really well. Like I said, the oil, maybe the CBD oil, not the acupuncture. The acupuncture was helping. I'm not gonna say it wasn't, but it was something about like insurance policy that just actually wasn't working out super well. But that's a whole other story. So my gynecologist, I had a cyst on my ovary that ruptured. So like that's a whole other thing. And they found another cyst. So like hopefully that doesn't rupture, because mine ruptured at the worst time. I was like about to head onto a plane, missed the flight. Luckily the airline was super great, and they helped me like in another flight later that night so I could recover during the day. Whole other story. But yeah, this like after I went back to my gynecologist because I was having abnormal bleeding, and I was like, well, what's going on? We did some ultrasounds to see about this bleeding and like the cysts and things like that, and she's like, I think you really should try physical therapy. So I gave this woman a call. She's amazing. They do like, it's kind of massage. It's not like there's like things I go home and I do on my own. But she massages both sides of my abdomen, my stomach, my butt, my hips, and my lower back, sort of thing. She does like some massage and kind of like loosens up those muscles, and then she does some internal work where she like will put her fingers and just like try to massage inside. So because she works with pelvic floor dysfunction, so it's not specifically endometriosis, but with pelvic floor. So kind of found out I have pelvic floor dysfunction, and just like kind of maybe taking care of that one part, like taking care of the pelvic floor dysfunction would help the endometriosis kind of relax. And pelvic floor dysfunction just means those pelvic floor muscles are just very tense, and like they hurt. They're not relaxed. And so it's just like this, the purpose of the physical therapy is to relax those muscles and kind of train your body to keep them relaxed. I think, you know, my physical therapist talked about how much tension I hold in my uterus and in my pelvic floor muscles. So like when I'm stressed, like today, I think I hold a lot of my tension there because I've been so used to doing that ever since I started having pain. I would just be like, tense up, tense up, tense up. And it's kind of more about like relaxing, like releasing, getting into the pain a little bit, which is kind of a weird concept. But, you know, she's taught me some little things like, you know, let's see, like using this tennis ball on my back against, because sometimes I'll have lower back pain. Using that up against a wall will help, or using some yoga poses. looking into oil and magnesium supplements. Just trying to find things to like cope with the nausea a little bit, that sort of thing. Because a lot of times it'll flare up at night, so a lot of times every night I'm like pretty much glued to this heating pad. But sometimes I do have these contractions and these nausea spells during the day, so it's also just like, how do I balance it, figure it out? And it's a journey, it's a process. Like, there's no conclusion here. I'm 20 years old. I got my period when I was 11. It's been a long journey, and so that really stinks. And they can have lifelong implications. Like, it does increase your chances for like cervical cancer or ovarian cancer or that sort of thing, or breast cancer, or infertility, miscarriages, high risk pregnancies, that sort of thing. Which I don't need to worry about now. Like, take it as it comes. So anyway, that's kind of my endometriosis story. I'd be happy to answer any questions or kind of expand on it more. I'm like saying this now like as if people are watching this, but no one's watching this. So anyway, that's, I hope future me is, when as you're watching this, is able to like have a better quality of life in terms of this, and maybe there'll be like some breakthroughs, I don't know, for the endometriosis gynecological field, because it's highly needed. I mean, 1 in 10 women have this, and like, I only heard about it because I started to do research about like my own pain. And once I started doing research, I found like my cousin has it, like my mom's coworker had it, like I think my grandma might have had it because she had a hysterectomy. Like, it is hereditary, so it would make sense. But I'm like, I didn't even know about any of this until like I started to do the research. I had never even heard of this disease, and 1 in 10 women have it. It's like more than likely that you know like several people who have this disease, and so that's really frustrating that like we're just not giving it the time and energy and the research to kind of come up with these sorts of like solutions. So anyway, wow, talked for 37 minutes about this, but as you can see, it's a issue that's really dear and near to my heart. And I guess I'll keep you updated on like what's going on. I have physical therapy tomorrow, and I'll let you know like if I feel like I'm making breakthroughs, if I don't know. Yeah, see. Hopefully the contractions and the nausea and the cramping and the back pain and the dizziness like kind of all like subside. Fingers crossed. All right. Well, I gotta work, and I'm gonna have a me party tonight, and so that's gonna be great. And I will talk to you tomorrow for day 6. Bye!